Hello everyone. So Roen is going through a sleep regression right now. A couple nights ago, he was shaking, he was twitching, and it just scared my husband and I. We were in panic mode, and I called the night nurse. My husband was going through all like the symptoms that he was having. We thought he had like RSV or pneumonia or something. And she said, you know what, just go ahead and give him Tylenol and see what happens from there. If he doesn't calm down or things don't change after like an hour, then bring him to the hospital. So we gave him some Tylenol. He started to calm down and he was perfectly fine. But ever since then, he just doesn't want to go back in his crib and go to sleep. Before he would go in his crib, we just give him a bottle. He would lay down and he would sleep perfectly fine, peacefully. Sometimes he'll be up for like a little bit, but never to a point where he just doesn't want to be in his crib anymore. Until recently, like after that whole incident, that one night, he just doesn't want to go back in for his naps or for bedtime. Like he throws a whole fit. Every time I try to put him in, he just grabs me and holds on tight. And I'm like, oh my God, like, are you okay? He's a little bit sick right now too. But normally when he's sick, everything is just fine. So I know babies go through sleep regressions like this and also toddlers too. With Aliana, like all my kids have been different with their sleep regressions. Aliana, she went through multiple sleep regressions. She went through, I believe, like 5 or 6 of them where she refused to take a nap. We had this whole routine and she just refused to take a nap. And with Brixton, not as much. Like he actually takes really good naps. He even takes good naps till this very day, but it's not scheduled. So whenever Brixton wants to take a nap, he kind of just like lays on the couch, lays on the floor, lays anywhere. Like he's a kid that could take a nap anywhere, which is so cute. I always wanted a kid like that, and Brixton is that kid. So I never have an issue with him. Only when he's cranky is when I'm like, you need to go take a nap. And then he'll fight it and he'd be like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, no, you're like an angry drunk person that wants to fight everybody right now, and nothing is going to get through to you unless you take that nap. But for Rowan, it's been a little challenging because when he's a baby, and I'm like always like more sympathetic for him because he's my baby and I just want to cuddle with him because he's getting bigger, and I'm just like, you don't want to take a nap, okay, let's just cuddle. But I know the right thing to do is to just keep on pushing for him to take his naps. He takes 2 naps a day still, one in the morning around 10 o'clock and another one in the afternoon around 3 o'clock. Those are like his normal nap schedules. I know it will go down to 1 nap a day when he gets a little bit older, but I feel like right now he's still on that 2 nap a day. Like he's not fully ready to just do 1 nap a day. But yesterday, he actually was like up for most of the day. He took a short nap for like 15 minutes, and then in the afternoon, he took a small little cat nap in the car because we were coming back for like 10 minutes. So he barely took a nap. And then he was fighting going to sleep at night. The day before, he barely took a nap. He was up all day. And that was like, okay, well, this is not normal for you. And I know you're tired, but he refused. So he was just up all day. And then the moment it was bedtime, he was struggling to go down. So he's just holding on to the crib railing, and he's so sleepy. He's like Rocky. He's giving everything he's got to stay awake. And then boom, he just falls back. He's kind of pretty much woke himself up again, and then he just got on his belly because he's a belly sleeper, and then he went to sleep. Done. He woke up in the middle of the night, but he didn't want his bottle. He kind of just woke up, fussed a little bit, but he wasn't hysterical, so we didn't go in there, and then he just went back to sleep. Last night, he did the same thing. He was just holding onto the bed railing. He was super tired, and then he got on his knees, was holding onto the bed railing, and then he just fell asleep. Right now, for his nap, he around 10 o'clock, like right now, I'm filming this video as he's napping right now. he was doing the same thing. He was like up, he was just crying, like not hysterical. If he's hysterically crying, I'm gonna go in there and check on him and see if everything is okay. But he's fine. I'm watching him on a monitor. And then he was on both knees and he's just holding onto the bed railing. And then he just went to sleep. But it wasn't easy. It hasn't been easy. So when it comes to like sleep regressions, from what I've learned with my past two kids, is that I just need to keep up with the routine. And keeping up with the routine just helps them adjust more easily, because it's still something that they're familiar with. They know they have to go to sleep. All they have to do is just do it. Sometimes I would change little things here and there. So I would incorporate like reading a book for like a little bit. So a little bit more like me time. Sometimes I would change like little things here and there. Like I would introduce a book and just read, and then put the baby back in the crib and then go to sleep. Right now I don't really do that for his naps because we just don't do it. But if he starts to show more signs of the regression, like it's still happening, maybe I'll just go ahead and introduce a book. Like change something very small in the routine so it's something a little bit new, but don't make it long. For Aliana, I always like would read a book, or I would sing a song to her, like some lullabies. I would sing like 3 lullaby songs to her, and then I would leave the room, and then she would just go to sleep. So maybe Roen needs a little bit more like comfort and like me on one-on-one time with me before he goes to sleep, but I'm still trying to feel it out with him. But it has been a little bit rough, because when I'm used to something, like that's my routine, I'm like, okay, here's your bottle, go into the crib, you're gonna go back down just fine. But now he's just so resistant, so much more resilient, and just refuses. And it hurts me, just because like he's crying and he's upset, but I know it's good for him, and he's not like hysterically crying where like something's wrong. It's more like, he just wants more cuddles. But I can't have him get used to me holding him as he goes to sleep and then putting him down while he's asleep, because it never works. It never worked for my other two kids. They would always just wake up and then they're just up. They won't go back down. So it's just easier in the long run for them to learn how to sleep on their own versus me comforting them and holding them while they fall asleep in my arms and then putting them in the crib. So yeah, that's what I'm going through right now with Roen. And if you guys are going through sleep regression right now too with your little one, stay strong, keep up with the routine is my tip. And sometimes it could take longer than a few days. Sometimes it could take like a couple of weeks, but for the most part, from what I've learned, is that they fall back into routine again. You'll know when they're like over it and done with like nap time and done with like the 2 naps a day and transitioning to 1 nap a day. Like you'll know, like you'll have this gut feeling. But for me, I always try to keep up with the routine for at least a couple of weeks. And then if that all fails and I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe you're done with the 2 naps a day. We're switching to 1 nap. And then if they switch out of the whole napping itself, like how Brixton did, and then it kind of sucks because you really don't have like much of a break, but then you occupy them in so many other ways. And for Brixton, even though he stopped taking naps, like on a scheduled nap, he still is that person that would like to take a nap in the afternoon at his own time. For Aliana, I mean, she is close to 6 years old. The only time she'll ever really take a nap is when she's sick, like really sick, or when she's like in the car and we've done like so many things during the day, like we went to a theme park or they went to like a kids activity place, and then she's so tired, and there's something magical about the car that just puts people to sleep and she'll fall asleep. But she hasn't really like taken a nap ever since she turned, I would say like 4 years old or 3.5 years old is when she really stopped taking naps. But she was really good in taking naps. For Roen, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to give up on you. I'm going to still have you take your naps. And even though he's been pretty tough the past few days, I'm still keeping up with routine. Right now, he just fussed for a little bit and he went back down and he started sleeping again. So we're not out of the 2 naps a day, and I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And if you need my other tip is, if you need to switch something in your routine, do something very small, like either introduce like a song or a book or just something very small that won't prolong the whole nap time or bedtime routine, so that they just expect something a little bit different, and then you're like, oh, this is fun again, and then they'll go back to sleeping. So I hope this helps you out, and I hope you just don't feel alone while your baby or your toddler is going through a sleep regression, because I've been there, I've done that, and those are the tips that I have for you guys. All right, okay, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.